binary sun? Is it always behind our sun? And explain how that has changed, because
currently the answer would be no. Upon arrival, now I figure the standard red star, it came from up underneath, and then it rose up to meet our star, and I think there's probably 10 million miles in between them or more. I mean, there's no way to judge that. It could have been 90 million miles for all I know behind it. And then they did this discharge thing where they linked sort of and connected electrically. I think the larger star was robbing the facial output activity of the coronal mass CMEs and all of that, because we had this really freak 11-year solar cycle that just up and quit, and it baffled scientists. And I to this day believe the larger star was pulling matter backwards off the smaller star, and then it got closer and bigger, and they co-orbited for quite a few years in the same spot. Now, I can't tell you that they weren't rotating. One day we would see that our larger star, the other day we see our smaller star in front. I don't know for sure. I generically believe that our star was in front of the larger star for a very long time because of photos, the way the photos looked, the intensity brightness in the center versus the outside reddish ring, which is the gas giant Imaru behind it, which is what holds both stars. They're attached, and I think they're just crossing places. They're not free falling or traveling alone and separate. They're just trading places. And for a period of time, they were co-orbiting in proximity to each other. But we believe now that the planets are rising above us and going beyond Earth, that we are beyond the halfway point, and therefore we believe the stars are separating. We waited for a very long time. We got some reports from Australia, South Africa, and South America that were telling us from their point of view, because they see it at a different angle than we do, that they were seeing two suns. We got submissions of that evidence, and currently it has been leading us toward the summation that they are separating now. I believe due to the separation of what occurred this year, that's why we saw an increased temperature skyrocket in our planetary temperature, and why we had massive heat waves all over the place. I think that's going to affect us and continue, even if it was to quit today. I think we're going to see further trouble from that, because if the Amazon is in drought, we're in deep shit, because the Amazon makes 3/4 of all sorts of our weather and a huge percentage of our oxygen on this planet. And if they turn into drought and those plants stop making oxygen, our weather's going to change, our oxygen levels are going to change, our atmosphere change, our gases will change. Remember, only 20 to 25. They're saying 20 now, but I remember 25. So there probably is already something going on where we have even less oxygen than we normally do, which could account for a lot of people being busy and disconnected and tired. If we have less oxygen on the planet than we're supposed to. For the people who are having asthma attacks and can't breathe, you might think about that. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing climatary changes, we're seeing oxygen level changes, we're seeing changes in nuclear radioactive degradation science, and all of that's changing. They haven't figured out how, and they see a change in the UV light index and where the planets are and where the sun is and the arc of this and where there's just so many things are all tied together that completely prove that this is all happening. It's all connected. And yeah, look at that. Argue with that. That happens to be a perfectly round orange cloud. Yeah, that's a round orange cloud.
Just dare me. Nothing to argue about.
That is a planet.
I got a question, Sam.
Yes.
I saved my eclipse glasses, and I'll put them on sometimes and look at the sun to see if I can see
look for a smaller object on the right or the left of it.
So, what would I look for if I'm looking at the sun with my eclipse glasses on? What would I look for to see?
You'd look for a smaller,
if there's separation.
Smaller, less intense. a smaller
bubble on the side.
star beside it,
Okay.
Mhm.
or
Or
an
even
illumination on the side if they're mixed
on
if
the
they're
side,
close
like a
to each
bubble on
other.
the side.
But I think we're seeing. I think we're seeing that they've have in the last month or so they have separated enough that they are separate objects now. And look for a smaller, like I was saying on Tony's earlier picture. It's very possible if that wasn't the lens flare, that is the approximate correct size for our star versus
Mhm.
the standard red star. Our star is going to
Okay.
be much smaller than the standard red. Now, if the
Okay.
standard red, I was fearful that it was coming towards us. And if they are continuing on the path, oh, look at that. That is the side of Atu. Look how purple that is.
Wow.
Look how
Yeah,
big
and that white
is.
bubbly is Atu's moon. But that is purple, striped purple Atu. That's an awesome shot.
That is.
Yeah.
And Sam, didn't
look
you
for a
say-
smaller star next to it? Yeah,
Sam.
if anybody shows you a picture of two stars and they're both the same size, it's a glass double. Go ahead.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Didn't you say when they separate, they are going to go up and over and to the right of us?
Yeah, because they
Michelle?
came in from the lower left. They're not
Okay,
going to
and then
change
they
direction.
okay.
We're ships passing in the night. We're trading places on location behind Imaru that holds the two stars. We're just
Okay.
passing one way and then the other. And being that we are binary and we are, I believe, electrically opposite, we're like two cogs that are turning in opposite polarity every 3,654 years. We pass by each other and repel and just go about our normal orbitation behind Imaru, which is so massive that if you don't have major technology, you wouldn't even know it's there, because to you it would be just a dark area of space that has no cloud, no stars.
Right.
And we're just now, starting to look out among the stars with halfway decent cameras, but everything we see is from thousands of years ago, from long, long ago light that isn't even anywhere close to where it came from or currently is by the time we see it. Because space is pitch black, and you only see it when it's being illuminated on a facial illumination. And the only reason that we even see some of the planets around some of the stars way out there in other galaxies is when they cross in front of the sun.
That's right.
And other than that, we don't generically see them. Now the new telescopes are changing that, so we're getting better look. And of course, they're not releasing all this other information, and they're telling us that we have to rethink how what we believe, which is very true, including in archaeology and in space technology. We have to rethink because they're wrong. They're wrong. And my information from off-world told me that they were wrong, and I believed them. Besides, you don't argue with an extraterrestrial, although I did.
Only you, Sam.
Yeah, you know me.
I do.
I don't understand. You've got to tell me more or tell me less. And like, oh God, don't tell me anymore. I don't want to know. I actually did say that to him at the end of the thing here. He was telling me so much shit. I didn't want to know it. Now look at that. There you go. It's Satham's yellow moon. Ion tail. Can't make that shit up.
Look at that.
Unmistakable.
And just above the tree line in the center is lead asteroid in front of the Satham's yellow moon, just like the site drawing. Knowing it's there, and there it is.
You're right, Tara. So clear.
What blows me away is I'm the only one that is throwing this out there for the rest of the world. You guys are, of course, helping, and you all know this as well.
Because
But it blows me away that it is all coming from me. This is so strange.